extra large here, this hanger. Dress is sort of thin. I don't know what size it is. I think, oh, it says large, but I am so squeezed in over here. But I just love that I've like made like a dressing area. I think it's really funny. I can't see, like, maybe if like I don't know, like the mayor showed up, I'd be like, hold on 1 second. I'd be like, wait, why didn't you write me? Yeah. So I turned on SoundCloud and I was like, I know, I'll start a Coyote Ugly mix. And it was so slow. So I turned on my weekly, I forget what it's called. If I haven't said this before, I'll say it again. These platforms will generate playlists for registered users. YouTube does it, Spotify does it, SoundCloud does it, everybody does it, Apple does it, everybody. And so that's why it's really important to make an account, because there are rewards, there are benefits. You're automatically more versed because you have a reference of materials that are generated for you, usually daily. But it does require some participation, some, some programming. You just have to think of, a couple of reference points for your music taste or your aspirations, maybe. It's a better, measure, because yeah, it's fun to like be like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about this song. But I started noticing recently that the entendres to things, like you think like, wow, they did that really well, or like you really got the message, but then life happens and you're like, it doesn't relate. And then all of a sudden, either you decide to go easy on it or to really stretch and try to, perform. And you realize that music is like what your participation is, like the fulfillment you get from it. And so that's like with classical music, like it's probably way more fun to be performing than it is to listen to it. But I think it's really important to have, depth. And so it's been on while I was listening to the other stuff, and it's on upstairs too. And that's because I'm not done with it. It's like, oh, if you're living with other people that's pretty much impossible to do. I don't really know who has like that much respect in their home that they get to, manage like in so many different ways. But because I'm like a venue over here, 1 minute it's freaking cafe town, and the next it's like underground. But you can't just turn it on, you know. You have to show up for it. You have to be looking for it. You have to hold space for it, because when people hear something new, you know, they generally have a pretty, difficult time getting used to it. But that's the difference with like most of the music that's ever existed up until electronic, up until, this like, I call it, it's like electronic symphonic electronic, which is still different from like the original like 80s, like, whatever. It's supposed to sound, more realistic. And and the idea is to be more inclusive in the sound. At least the sound is covering as many bases as possible, and it asks a lot of the listeners. It really does. It's hype music, and so when I was growing up, there was a lot of like really, really aggressive, really, really, really elementary, like instrumental and like just terrible monotone rap lyrics. It was basically hell. And I had to sit there and listen to it for hours and hours and hours. And people would just be like, yeah. I'm like, literally, I hate you so much. Like, you are my enemy. So, yeah, I don't think it's for the faint of heart. I don't think it's for the novice. I don't think it's for people who are too cool to feel things and to also like take care of yourself, because it does actually like, it creates like physical feelings. And so if you're like too cool to acknowledge your body, you will suffer. So yeah, anyways, I mean, I find it is crucial because I'll be sitting around all day and my skin's literally crawling and I want to shake it off. I want to, and that's what I do. So, you have to be very motivated and really present. It's not for observing. It's for sensing. And, I'm not gonna lie, like, it's part of my toolbox. It's part of my defense. It's part of my protections. It's part of my safety. Like, I already know that, like, if I turned on my music, you would be offended. And it's like, I already know. Like, you don't like me. Oh, it's so great. Anyways, I do. Every time I listen to my music, I'm like, haters. But it's really good. It's really good stuff, man. It really is. I'm not gonna lie. It's it's not that it makes you feel a lot of different things. It's not a lot of different things. It's not a roller coaster. It's not. That's something that, what was I watching? And I was like, oh my gosh. Because they like literally fast tracked like 10 different like very valid emotions in like 20 seconds. And I was like, why? That's not human. No, that's not what it is. It gets you moving and it keeps you moving. And so it's not that it makes you feel a lot of different things. It's that it's dependable. It's almost predictable, even though part of the genre's like characteristics is that there are what we call drops, and they will try to juke people, listeners, and like skirt, it's like DJ skirt. So they do that, and it's fun because you have to be very what's the word for like you have to be very comprehending it. You have to be like listening for it, and the more you're listening, the more you get. And so it's really good. It's really good for if you're in a really bad mood, because it's very distracting. And I initially started listening to instrumental when I was commuting, just because I just thought it would be more enjoyable. It wasn't because I needed a distraction, but I was like, wow, this would like be twofold, like so much more fun. And I used to try not to touch anything because germs. And so I'd be like surfing on the subway, like listening to my freaking tropical house. And I was like, yeah, I'm a bad singer. It was great. But yeah, it's just, it can be really tempting to, play your part, like you're trying to win an Oscar or whatever. But I think what's really honest is to admit when you are, being, I don't know how to say, like dismissive, or when you're trying to avoid things, when you're making excuses, when you're, basically just being lazy and stuff like that, there's always something to do. There really is, and I've had my fair share of time with Netflix and chill. So it's not that we don't deserve that at some point, but ultimately, the more that you show up for yourself, the more you're going to gain. And so taking accountability of your mood and your environment, and really intentionally trying to code something that is constructive. I know the people who spy on me probably have to wear diapers because like I'm like just like chilling, and then it's like boom. But get your own. I post my playlist, like Take 5, freaking Don't be weird. Like, joie de vivre, baby. All right. Let's go. Happy New Year. And yeah, 2026. Okay.